Hello and welcome to Arts 24. Today we're heading to the world's leading photojournalism festival, VisaPourLImage, in southern France. Photographer Josh Edelson has spent the past decade inside California's wildfires, not from afar, but in the heart of the flames. Wearing firefighter gear and working solo, he's captured haunting images of entire towns reduced to ash, families fleeing, and firefighters pushed to their limits. Josh Edelson's exhibition California, a Decade in the Middle of the Inferno, is a powerful visual record of a state in crisis and the people fighting to survive it. And as Europe faces yet another summer of devastating wildfires, including recent blazes in France's Aude region, not far from Perpignan, his work resonates more than ever. He joins us now from the festival. Hello, Josh. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Now, you photographed natural disasters across the US. What is it about California's wildfires that's made you dedicate a decade to documenting them?
Well, there's two reasons. First, thanks for having me. Two reasons. First, it's right in my backyard because it's where I live. Secondly, California is relatively unique in the United States in that press actually gets access to disaster zones. It's one of the few states in the United States where press is allowed to actually go into the disaster. So we do have wildfires in the United States and other states, Oregon, Washington, Wyoming, etc., but press is not allowed access. So California is kind of the best place to show what actually happens during a wildfire because we can go in.
And how do you balance artistic impact with sensitivity when people are living through this trauma?
It's tricky. I mean, the priority, of course, is making sure that if, for example, if I'm photographing people that have just lost their home, it's a sensitive topic, and I first want to make sure that I'm welcomed, even if it's a nonverbal sort of a nod from a resident saying it's okay to be there. I don't want to overreach or make people uncomfortable because most of the people who lose homes are devastated, and so first I try to mind them and be sensitive to their situation, and then once I kind of get a nonverbal or a verbal okay to be there, then I can focus on the photos and trying to get what I need. That's for aftermath.
Well, Josh, your images are visually stunning and emotionally raw. Here is the reaction of some of the people to your work showing in Perpignan. Take a listen.
I work in environment, so starting with this exhibition is very powerful.
The flames make an impression, and it's the scale of the photos. You feel like you're in the middle of the flames and it hits you right in the face. Very moved.
I'm going to say something dreadful, but these photos are very beautiful. Sadly, we can make beauty out of absolutely horrible things. In the face of this climate change that is happening to us already and that we still can't seem to manage.
Some interesting reactions there in Perpignan. Now, Josh, can you describe what it's actually like being on the ground during a massive wildfire, the sounds, the heat, the adrenaline?
Yeah, it's hot. It's really hot. It's true in response to those reactions. It's true the flames can literally come right up to you. So it's important, at least for me and most of the other photographers, there's a select few, when covering these things, we need to wear the appropriate gear because if we're not wearing proper equipment, then you literally can get burned. So it's very, very important to be safe and to wear the appropriate gear. In response to the other reaction, yes, fire is beautiful and deadly. It's dangerous and spectacular, and it's one of the things that draws me to it as a photographic subject. Fire makes its own light. It creates a really unique environment visually. Seeing something burn is both disastrous and beautiful, and so it's kind of a perfect subject, especially considering my forte is focusing on natural disasters, so it's kind of perfect on that front.
And Josh, you've said wildfire season now breaks all the rules. Europe saw massive fires this summer. France saw its most severe fire in nearly 80 years. From what you've seen, how has the climate crisis changed the way fires behave and the way we respond to them?
Oh, it's absolutely changing. For example, earlier this year, most people have heard about the massive wildfires that took place in Los Angeles. This was in January. January is winter time in California. This is a time when we're supposed to get rain, when the weather's supposed to be cold and cool. And we had one of the largest, most destructive and damaging wildfires in, I think, definitely in state history, possibly national history, right in the middle of winter. So wildfire season is not just in the summer in California anymore. It literally can be year-round. So that's one major rule that is definitely getting broken. The other rules it just continues. The behavior of fires is changing. We're seeing more fire tornadoes. These are like actual tornadoes that have fire wrapped in them. There was one during the Carr fire recently, about a number of years ago, that killed a couple of firefighters. It picked up a firefighter's truck and threw it, I don't know, maybe a quarter mile away, killing a firefighter. I mean, the things that are changing are pretty massive. So it's tricky to try and continue to cover these things while still maintaining safety protocols, but it's definitely changing. And it's getting hotter, like just generally the climate's getting hotter.
And many of your photos have gone viral and been used by politicians from Trump to Clinton. What responsibility do you feel then, knowing your work shapes public opinion and policy discussions?
So I think my primary goal, number one, is to tell the story as it is. And then secondary is the artistic part of it. So yes, I want the photos to be beautiful and compelling, but the most important thing is to tell the story accurately. It's kind of interesting. One of the photos of the bridge with the fire in the background, that photo went viral almost instantly after I filed it. And it was misinterpreted as the Golden Gate Bridge, which it definitely was not. People were sharing it saying that the Golden Gate Bridge was on fire in San Francisco, and that was not the bridge. Now, that bridge was the Bidwell Bar Bridge in Oroville, and it looks similar. And when you have things that are silhouetted and just surrounded with orange, it's kind of hard. I could understand how it would be hard to tell what bridge it is, but that's why it's imperative that in my captions, I try to be as accurate as possible with everything that's happening so people don't misinterpret things and stories don't go out that aren't true. So that kind of started, I would say, the virality of that particular photo. And I don't know who thought it was the Golden Gate Bridge and who realized which bridge it was, but it's really, really important to be accurate on the facts. That said, it was a pretty spectacular scene. I have stories about every single photo on how I got to those scenes. That particular photo was during a 36-hour straight shift where I had no sleep, and it was just a wild scene.
Incredible stuff. Josh Edelson, thank you so much for joining us and telling us about your work over the past decade. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show, and your work is at the VisaPourLImage Photojournalism Festival, where your exhibition, California, a Decade in the Middle of the Inferno, is on show. Thank you again. Well, this year at VisaPourLImage, two powerful exhibitions shed light on the Democratic Republic of Congo's complex reality. One explores Virunga National Park, Africa's oldest and most endangered biosphere, home to rare mountain gorillas, but also a refuge for armed groups since the Rwandan genocide. The other focuses on the escalating conflicts in eastern Congo, where the M23 rebel group has seized key cities, deepening a crisis rooted in decades of violence and regional tensions.
21-year-old Sifa sits in a makeshift hospital in Goma in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Next to her lies her newborn baby, named La Guerre, or War. Sifa has lived her entire life amid the conflict between Congolese government forces and the M23 armed group. It's Congolese civilians like her that photojournalist Paloma Lode has made it her mission to document.
It's a forgotten conflict that has been going on for more than 30 years and has claimed more than 6 million lives, according to Amnesty International, and it's one of the deadliest conflicts since the Second World War.
It's also a conflict that's caused a mass displacement crisis.
When the M23 arrived, a few days later, they ordered the displaced people to leave these camps. So overnight, people had to take down their tents and try to recover what they had, what they could take with them. But the question also arises of what happens when they return home. Many people go home to find grenades and ammunition in their gardens, which is obviously extremely dangerous for them. Nothing was being done at this time, at least, to get rid of all these military items.
About 30 kilometers from Goma lies Virunga National Park. Listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, it's home to nearly a third of the world's mountain gorilla population. M23 rebels control part of the park, which is threatened by fighting and poachers.
I took this one in 2007, and on this day, 9 mountain gorillas died. And at the time, there were only about 270 left in the world. So on that day, you lost nearly 5% of the population at once.
In Virunga, park rangers risk their lives to protect wildlife. More than 200 of them have been killed in 20 years.
Virunga is symbolic of so many places in the natural world that are really fighting for survival. The fight in Virunga is a little more intense, but no less of a threat than what I'm seeing in hundreds of parks around the world. We are not doing enough to take care of our natural spaces. So my question is always, what will you tell your children when they ask you what you did about it one day?
In Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, civilians and wildlife alike must survive under the constant threat of hostilities.
Well, the world's leading photojournalism festival, VisaPourLImage, in southern France is on until the 14th of September. We're going to leave you with some of the other work on show. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.